On October 31st of 2013, a young hacker was able to discover 3 new mythical Pokemon in Pokemon X and Y, one of which was Hoopa. But even though it was in the code of X and Y, it was never meant to be obtained or even discovered for that matter until its feature in the 18th Pokemon movie alongside Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire introduced a new key item called the Eon Flute that enables you to summon Latios or Latias to soar the skies and explore new areas. While soaring, you'll discover new caves, forests, islands, and even mountains that will appear one day and disappear the next. Sometimes you'll even find mysterious portals connecting various legendaries from around the world to the Hoenn region. All of this links back to the mythical Pokemon Hoopa. So today, we're gonna break down everything we know about Hoopa to figure out what it really is and what its role is in the Pokemon world. Now, if you haven't seen my analysis on Hoopa and Hoopa Unbound, something you should know about it is the fact that this is what Hoopa really is. It has 6 arms that can swiftly control each of the 6 rings on each arm to transport things. When its power was sealed away into a bottle, it lost most of its power and was reduced down to this form known as its confined form. Something to take note of is that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire take place before the events of Pokemon X and Y. This is evident through various in-game hints like the fusion of Mr. Bonding and Auras, but it was actually confirmed by Toshinobu Matsumiya of Game Freak on the day Auras was announced. Based off his brief timeline, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire takes place at least 5 years before the events of Pokemon X and Y does. Like most major legendary Pokemon from Ho-Oh to Rayquaza to Giratina, Hoopa is based off real-life mythology. Hoopa is based off a Djinn, a genie-like creature with immense power. Based off mythology, Djinns can be loyal and good to some people like its master, but also evil and devastating if it wants. The only way to control a Djinn, either good or bad, is to magically bind them to a vessel, usually in rings or bottles, which can only be done by experienced, reputable conjurers. They are also said to live in desolate locations and are very protective of those areas, tormenting anyone that interferes with its space. In addition, Djinns are not from this world. They have the power to travel to different worlds, but really belong to their own world. When a Djinn is bound to a vessel, it is sealed back into its own world and can only be summoned on command. Just like how typical genies will forcibly return to its vessel after its 3 wishes, bounded Djinns will be forcibly returned to its vessel after certain conditions or by its master at any time. This is what the reoccurring phrase during the Auras Hoopa event is based off of. For a mere 3 days will Hoopa be unbound. If Hoopa's powers are ever set free, they'll return to its vessel in 3 days. In other words, if you unbound Hoopa, waiting 3 days or depositing it into the PC will revert it to its confined form and rebound it to its vessel, the prison bottle. Moving back, Djinns cannot be released from their vessel accidentally, like by unknowingly rubbing a lamp. They can only be set free willingly by someone who has control over it like its master. This is actually proven to be the same for Hoopa from the Auras Hoopa event, where the store merchant mentions how nothing happened when he opened the bottle as opposed to you, its trainer, being able to unbound Hoopa when opening it. Along with the Auras event, there is also a Hoopa event in Pokemon X and Y that tells you a ton of tales about Hoopa. One talks about how it has been deviously stealing gold and silver treasures for years. Another talks about how Hoopa was stealing random objects from an organization, then went on a rampage transporting entire headquarters across the world. And the last X and Y tale talks about how Hoopa can transport even islands when it unleashes its full power. First off, why would Hoopa be stealing ancient relics and gold and silver treasures? Well, Djinns are usually sealed in ancient treasures, namely rings or bottles. It seems like Hoopa was looking for the item its powers are sealed in to release itself. In the second tale, Hoopa, who was constantly stealing items from an organization, suddenly stops, then transports the entire headquarters to a desert. Almost sounds like it got its hands on the prison bottle, doesn't it? Throughout the course of Auras, it looks like Hoopa is unbound, as it is actively transporting entire islands and pulling out legendaries through its portals, something there's no sign of it being able to do in its confined form. Confined Hoopa has never been seen using portals, but rather maneuvering through objects, which is why it can use Hyperspace Hole, but not Hyperspace Fury. But if Hoopa can only be unbound for 3 days, how can it transport islands around every day and open up portals from time to time? This question brings up one of 2 possibilities. The first is that Auras takes place before Hoopa's powers are sealed into the prison bottle, and X and Y takes place after, meaning during Auras, Hoopa wouldn't be restricted at all. Now keep in mind that plot-wise, Hoopa shouldn't be obtainable in your game, so the fact that you can have Hoopa in your party means nothing to the plot. It's like having an Arceus in your party while fighting Arceus in Gen 4. There's not 2 Arceuses, it's just a minor plot hole that Game Freak always has in their games. The second possibility is that there is something pulling Hoopa's strings things throughout the course of the game. Like I mentioned before, Djinns, while mostly choose to be evil, can be very loyal to some people. The Traveler in X and Y even mentions how Hoopa can either be a trustworthy partner or bring great misfortune. But the fact that the Prison Bottles lore emphasizes that it was used to steal Hoopa's powers away a very long time ago makes me lean more towards the second idea that Hoopa is with someone. In the teaser of the 18th Pokemon movie, a Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, and a shiny Mega Rayquaza can be seen about to engage in an intense battle when a portal appears and pulls them in. From what we know, the main Pokemon universe doesn't have a shiny Rayquaza, meaning Hoopa must be transporting the legends from a different dimension. Like it said in mythology, Djinns can travel to different worlds. Think about it, when you encounter the legendaries from other regions through Hoopa's portals, each of them have their original unremixed theme as if they were pulled out directly from where they stand in their respective games. From what we know, Hoopa may be able to transport Pokemon around, but it can't manipulate them and force them to attack. Which bears the question, why is Hoopa connecting legendaries from around the world to specifically the Hoenn region? Like I said earlier, Djinns are very protective of their land and will torment anyone that tries to bring harm to it. On one hand, Hoopa may be taking the necessary steps to help protect Hoenn from an outside force by trying to bring strong reinforcements. The fact that Hoopa has targeted Hoenn over Kalos or any other region could mean it's looking for something that only Hoenn holds, like being able to reclaim its ability to stay unbound for good. But on the other hand, this could be a wrecking and disastrous scheme in an attempt to destroy the Hoenn region. Transporting legendaries, which are battle-engaged Pokemon, can create uncontrollable chaos that Hoopa could teleport out of any time, which brings ties to another Pokemon that hasn't shown its true purpose yet. In X and Y's Terminus Cave lies the Z legendary, who while doesn't play a role in X and Y, will probably play a huge role in the future. Zygarde's Pokédex entries emphasize how it's always monitoring the ecosystem and will reveal its secret power when the ecosystem falls into chaos. In comparison to its trio members, Xerneas and Yveltal, it is much weaker and has the type disadvantage, but also has two hidden signature moves that can counter them. And if you look deeper, these same moves may also be effective against Hoopa's ability to create portals and transport things through them. I'm almost certain that Zygarde will be revealing its secret power in the 18th Pokemon movie against Hoopa, and will probably be getting a new form or even two new forms in the next Pokemon games. But that's everything we can make out of Hoopa. Whether its plan is to destroy Hoenn or protect Hoenn or completely unbound itself, we're all definitely excited to see what future role Hoopa will have, and we're bound to learn its origin and purpose in the upcoming movie. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited to see what more there is to learn about Hoopa. It is by far the most badass looking Pokemon created. Just imagine it using Hyperspace Fury and causing chaos in the movie. But with Hoopa's movie coming up, I've teamed up with Skizorr again to bring you the all new Hoopa Unbound shirts, the last shirt in our Auras collection. The campaign will run for 3 weeks, so be sure to pick one up before it ends. You can click the box on screen or click the link in the description to go to its page. But anyways, be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed the video and let me know any thoughts or theories you have on Hoopa Unbound, from whether you think there is a trainer behind Hoopa to its purpose in connecting legendaries to Hoenn. You guys had some really interesting comments in the last video, namely mentioning its possible relation to Zygarde. I am gonna start moving into unreleased things in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out.